Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Monday Night Must See TV with the Hudson Valley Squares. We got the whole crew here today and a very special guest. He's all the way down in the bottom right corner, Mr. Andrew Freeman, vocalist of The Last in Line, long time Hudson Valley resident, now not Hudson Valley resident anymore, but he still is very beloved in all our hearts here in the Hudson Valley. So
Yes,
you can show Andy.
You can take the boy out of Pine Bush, but you can't take the Pine Bush out of the boy.
There you go. There you go. So we got everybody here. So we got, let's see, we got Lynn, we got Sydney, we got Steve, we got Butch, we got Chris, we got Ryan, and we got Nick. And Butch, you are on the center square tonight.
Woohoo! I gotta stick this up here. Okay, use center, so this is not working.
Outstanding.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And now I lost him.
And Butch just left. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Butch.
Now
Trailers must be
was
on.
a center square. Butch ran out. He heard you with the center square.
He was like,
I'm not
I'm
having no
out.
fun with this. They're interviewing
I think
Connor
I-
David.
I think I scared him with my threat. That was what it was.
Well, he's
You
going to probably
have-
pop back
when
in, and then Chris Allo right now is sitting in the center square. So
All right. See, I was trying. I was trying to move him over to center square, and he disappeared. I thought I did something wrong. So maybe I have magic in my hands, and I just went.
You deleted him.
I did.
Nice.
Canceled him.
Delete.
He's been canceled.
yeah, I don't know. He's not sitting here, so I don't know.
Well, all right.
he'll be coming back in. So so basically, everybody, the topic of the day. We've had a lot of people asking, saying, you guys don't talk about female singers enough. So we said, all right, we're going to do a whole show on our favorite female singers. So I've asked everybody to put together a list of their 3 to 5 favorite female singers of all time. Could be any genre. And I asked everybody to just kind of name your favorite album that they appeared on, right? So your very favorite album of theirs. So we're going to go, everybody's going to go one at a time, and we're going to go around the room. So we're going to have our special guest, Mr. Freeman's going to be going first here tonight. Then it's going to be Lynn, then Steve, then Chris, then Sydney, then Ryan, then myself, then Nick. Nick, you always seem to be, you and Steve are always last. You ever notice that every week?
I'm the younger child in my family. I'm
What
always
can I tell you? Unless Butch comes back in and Butch all of a sudden gets back up in that top square. So we'll see how it goes. So Andrew, who is
Yes, sir.
Who is your first choice of today?
I'm reading my my phone here because I have notes, so just bear with me for 1 second. Actually, I have a whole list because it was really hard to narrow it down to 5, and I may not have all the album titles because I don't remember anymore because I'm old. So my first choice is going to have to be Bjork.
Ooh.
And that's, I like a lot of weird singers because I've been a singer for, a long time. And I really got into her when she was in a band called the Sugar Cubes. And this was back in the 80s. And they were like just kind of an obscure new wave band from Iceland, I believe it was. Iceland they're from.
Uh-huh.
And there was always, it was like she had this really just kind of hypnotic sort of voice. And so the first Sugar Cubes album was the first one that I aware of. I think it was their first one. I can't remember the name of it, but the first album they put out, loved. But there was always this weird dude singer in the band who was kind of like a hype man who would always come in and have this. He was kind of like the guy in the B-52s. And sign says, "Say away, fools." He'd always pop in and do some weird sort of rap in a weird Icelandic accent. And I was like, if this guy went away, this band would be perfect. You know what I mean? Because she had just this super hypnotic voice. And then she went solo, which was like my dream come true. So her first solo record, I think, is my favorite thing she ever did. She's weird as hell. Can we curse? We can curse, right? Yes,
Yep.
okay, because I already did 10 times. She's weird as fuck, and I love everything she does. I loved it when she evolved into this, she got mainstream and then became this super weird mainstream artist when she came to one of the I think the Grammys or something, in that she was wearing like it was like a pelican or some sort of ostrich on the front of her dress. It was like this fucking crazy thing. So Bjork, my first one is Bjork. So, and I can't give you a song title because I can't remember any of the song titles, but
That's all right. That's okay.
song or album. So I guess Bjork. That was her first record was called Bjork, her first solo record. So anyway, there you go.
Cool.
And I'm done.
All righty.
Pete, can I just make a comment?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Regarding Bjork, about, oh man, some years ago, I was down in BB King's in Manhattan seeing the death metal band Cryptopsy from Montreal. And there's a bit of a mosh pit, and I'm with a friend of mine, and there's this short-statured woman in the crowd, and short, and kind of intense, and she just started up in the pit and started like karate kicking in random directions and just shoving anybody that was near her. And she was really like, you didn't want to get in this woman's path. And my friend, he nudges me and he goes, "That's Bjork." And I'm like, "What?"
Wow.
He
I
goes,
remember that. I
that's
remember
fucking-
that night.
"That's Bjork." And I'm like, and phones were in there, not what they are today, but we're still able to look it up. And I was like, holy shit, Bjork's at a Cryptopsy show in New York City kicking people. So
Yeah.
that girl's intense.
Yeah, she's pretty weird. And I love that about her. I love that she's so fucking weird. That's the main attraction for me. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Very cool. Oh, I think Butch is
Nice.
coming back on. There he
hey,
is.
Butch
Hey,
Jones.
Butch is
Hey.
back.
Yeah, I think I scared him. I definitely scared him. That's why
All right, Butch, since you are back and the way you're configured, you're going to go next, then Lynn will go after you. So go. Andy just went. Now you can go with your number one choice.
Quick. So my third choice is someone that might not be known by a lot of people, but she has been in my top three, and I actually got a chance to tell her so 2 years ago. Sass Jordan.
Oh, nice.
Good choice.
from
I
her-
knew that was coming.
Yes, ma'am. From her Rats record. Sass Jordan is Canadian and in Canada with Canadian Idol. She basically had the role of Simon Cowell. She was the bitch. And she has a phenomenal voice. She has a raspy, manly growl to her voice. I would almost say kind of in that Janis Joplin kind of growl to her voice. But man, when she wants to make a hard rock record, she crushes it. Her early career of her solo stuff was kind of up and down. She had a lot of poppy kind of stuff, but that album that I showed, that Rats album, Stevie Salas, if anyone knows Stevie Salas, he was
Oh
a
yeah,
part of that.
yeah.
And that record just kills. And then 20 years, 30 years later, well, I guess that was like 94, I think. And so maybe 2019, I think, she did a record with Brian Tishy, another guy that's become a friend over the years and a phenomenal drummer. And she did an album with him called Sun. Something Unto Nothing, I think is what it stands for. And that record, again, that's a very heavy, very Zeppelin-like record. And if you guys aren't familiar with Sass Jordan, and she deserves everyone to give her a listen. She is a badass.
What was her first record, Butch? That first record was great. It was a big budget album too, like back in like '89 or something, right?
It might have been Racine. I know that was before Rats. I'm not sure which one it is, to be honest with you, Andy.
Okay.
I think I have it, but it's not. It was more pop than hard rock. And
Yeah.
I love her voice, but it was like after I came in on the Rats record, so I came in on the hard rock record. So anything that wasn't exactly like that, it was like, whoa, that's different.
Good choice.
Well,
But
yeah, the
she-
hard rock.
That's the one, Rats. That's this one. with,
Yes,
that's the
I have
record.
that.
Yeah. Pissin' Down was a song on that record. Damage was the song, was that one. And I think the big Z-Rock song of the day was High Road Easy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was a great song.
She's just, my God. I don't understand how she's not a household name in the States, man. She's just kick ass.
Yeah, she's a great singer.
Yep.
Good choice. Good choice.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. All right, Lynn, you're up.
I knew Butch was going to pick that because somebody hung out with her for a few years ago,
Yes.
right behind the stage. As I was working that airport festival, which was actually pretty fun for Wappingers, right?
For what it
In
was.
New York. For what it was fun. It was a good time for what it was, right?
Yeah.
But she's actually on my honorable mentions because of you, because of that.
Very good.
So that's all right. But my first, if you see my shirt, is of course the one and only Miss Pat Benatar, with her 4.5 octave range, right? I mean, her mom was an opera singer, but she stopped studying to raise Pat and her brother. And ever since the In the Heat of the Night album, my sister had that. You know, I was little, and I think it was in the 70s, and I was young. And so I would steal my sister's records and all that stuff, and I would go listen. And ever since that record, I was just kind of hooked, right? I mean, it's Treat Me Right. I mean, everything she does is just amazing. She can kick ass. She can be a rocker. She can do melodic. She can do opera. Everything she does, she can sing you the phone book, and you're like, really? So I remember she played the Inamorata tour. Remember that I actually got to tell her that night that how amazing I thought she was at the Chance in Poughkeepsie. And that was like 1,100 people, I think, were at that show. Butch, I don't know if you were there or not.
I was there. Neil
I was at
Giraldo.
that
Of
one
course
too.
I was there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I should have known. I was probably hanging out with you. Who the hell am I kidding? It was packed, right? We were all in the corner. It was 1,100 people in that small venue because that show was beyond, above and beyond sold out. But Pat Benatar, for one, hands down, and she's my number one of all time. So, hence the shirt.
There you go.
Hi, are you saying something?
No, I have to ask a question before you go further because I missed it. Andy, what was your pick?
What was my pick? Was Bjork.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, really quick, I have to laugh because that Hit Me With Your Best Shot, you know, it's everyone sings it, including me, the dork that I am, sang it when I was playing in a band. And now every once in a while, when I have bands that come and play when I'm bartending, they'll call me up to sing it just because I want to feel 12 again.
As you should.
As I should.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna
you still
go
look
sing it
12.
with you when-
Lynn, you still look 12.
Thanks,
Lynn
Andy.
hasn't aged in the
Wow.
8,000
class?
years I've known her. Yeah, since the
Since the
8,000 years I've known her. But neither has Butch. So, and why is that? Why is that, Butch? Why haven't you aged? Because you have an answer to that.
Black
Don't
don't
drink
crack.
the milk. It's
Black don't
spoiled.
crack.
That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't going to say it.
I
Oh,
said
No,
it
but
for
I'm
you.
not black. I don't know. Maybe it's an Italian thing.
Italian don't crack either.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Sicily,
well,
it's, you know,
I don't want to get
close.
into that. Let's not get
Well,
into that.
Andy, not for nothing. You look great too, though. You don't look your age. No, but you were younger than us
Of course, I
anyway.
don't look my age. I've
But you were
never
younger
acted.
than us, I think.
I haven't acted my age since I was my age, so it's fine. But thank you very
Well,
much. I appreciate it.
We had good times anyway.
I have to say one thing right now, because I've been living out west for about 20 years now. I don't know how many years. I've been out of New York for 20 years. It's nice to be obnoxious again when I hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
I
Anything
can't,
favorite.
I can't tell anybody what I think anymore. It's kind of sucks, you know. Hey,
that
what
way.
what are you guys doing today? Why are you yelling at me? I'm not fucking yelling at you. What's your problem? But thank you for the obnoxious.
I can't. I love it.
I'll shut
That's
up now.
great.
Thank you.
That's great. That's fucking
All right, Steve Keeler, what do you got for us here?
Boom.
Boom.
So like female vocalists has always been something I've loved. I mean, from my first exposure to 60s AM radio, which I grew up on, Diana Ross and Supremes, Tina Turner, Aretha, Spanky and our gang with Elaine, Spanky McFarlane, of course, Grace Slick at Jefferson Airplane, and Janis Joplin. I mean, I grew up with all that stuff. And, you know, then moving on to my teenage years, I heard about the Runaways. My mom actually went out and bought that import, the Japan live record at Record World. And for some reason, the clerk warned her about the record. Do you know what you're buying your son? And I don't know it could be offensive in any way. But I thought I'd mention that part. And then I started, you know, going from on Joan Jett's solo career, started following her around in clubs when she came around, seeing her play, and then moving on to Girl School. Girl School to me.
I toured with them.
Oh, that's
Nice.
cool.
Yeah, we did a full run with them in Saxon in Europe. They're
Yeah,
the
cool.
nicest people ever. Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean,
That
like seeing them, I was seeing them on like right around 82, maybe 81, catching them in clubs. I had a serious crush on Kelly Johnson, the lead guitarist. Catching Girl School to me back then in a small club was like a religious experience. I absolutely loved them. And you know, it's hard to do this list today because I was thinking, well, I got 3 people and that'll be easy enough. Then I started thinking of all the years and what I went through. And then there was all this new movement of the symphonic metal bands that I got into. And of course, the new breed of female vocalists doing that like 70s vibe and the occult rock. So my number 3 today, if we're doing 3, because he said 5 or 3, but I'm going to go with my third because that's what you guys were doing.
You just mentioned 6.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was girls' school.
So, you know, I like to mention, I like to give the story of what I'm thinking about, of course. But my number 3 would be someone from that 70s vibe, occult rock. Brian Scow turned me on to them years ago, the Devil's Blood. And Farida Lamochi, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing her name right. He's got it, you know, darn well he's got that on his list too. If you've never listened to this band and you check them out, I please listen to, like, even Scow will probably pick a song. On the Wings of Gloria, the Thousand Epicenter.
What are they called?
The Devil's Blood.
The Devil's Blood. And what are they from?
They're Holland. They were
They're a new band?
The brother committed suicide.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah,
That's
after
funny.
only a couple albums, they were deeply into the occult, and as Steve said, they're magical.
Yeah.
She's
Oh, they're
phenomenal.
amazing. They're fucking amazing.
And the music, just everything. It's like they were one when I first heard them. I'm like, this is one of my favorite bands. I did get to see them once at Irving Plaza, and
cool.
they were not around long. But I highly recommend that band in general. And her vocals were just amazing.
They're fucking amazing.
Powerful.
Love to hear it.
Yeah, very good band.
Check out the Devil's Blood, everybody.
Yep.
All right.
Long already. They were only around for a short time. So
Sweet.
Sal, what do you got?
All right, I'll make it quick because Butch has to go watch a game.
well, Butch could go watch the game and come back like he did already. He was watching an interview, I heard.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll still make it quick because there's a lot of shit that obviously everybody wants to talk about. The band that I picked, the vocalist, she's not the greatest singer, although she actually can sing, but it's Candace from Walls of Jericho. I'm not the biggest like hardcore or metalcore fan, but I went to go see In Flames up in Worcester in like 1999 or something, and they opened, and I was completely fucking blown away. For my money, she is the most intense woman I've ever seen on stage. I mean,
Really?
she's like if Glenn Danzig raped Henry Rollins, during a fucking Slayer show, but they had it was a girl. Like that's the byproduct.
Wow.
That's
I
an
I think
image.
that actually happened.
That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah,
That's a visual
I mean,
image right here.
I think that actually happened.
talking-
once.
I cannot
it could
see that
happen.
now.
Well, we're talking intense. I mean, I seen a video once where they were playing some shitty show and all these hardcore kids are on stage, and she got hit in the face and she broke her nose during the song, but then she got even more intense and just kept playing the set with a broken, bloody nose with the fucking
Love
bone
it.
sticking out.
Love it.
She's nuts. I've seen her a ton of times. I got fucked up once at that New England Metal and Hardcore Fest, and they did the
In
Wayne's
Worcester.
World thing. It was stupid,
And
but
Worcester.
they're great. My favorite record from them is with Devils Amongst Us All, which came out in 2006. And if I got time for a real quick story, 2006, I'm writing for Circus Magazine, Pit Magazine. I'm at Ozfest, and back then the magazines were still big. So I had backstage passes up the wazoo. Two of my favorite girl bands were playing. Totally different though. Lacuna Coil and Walls of Jericho.
Number 2.
So I'm in the in between bands. Me and a buddy, we're in the van area or the bus area rather, and I go on the Lacuna Coil bus and find Christina, who's one of my favorite vocalists, and the bus was awesome. I mean, it was spotless. It was brand new. Lacuna Coil was riding high because that record Coma Lies was like selling like hotcakes.
Yeah.
I mean, like there was a flat screen TV and satellite, and I mean, the thing was spotless and air conditioned, and I was practically waiting for a butler to come out and ask me if I wanted a mint. Finish that interview, grab a quick beer, and then I go over to the Walls of Jericho bus, and holy shit, what a dump. I mean, it was small. There was no air conditioned. I get on, and it fucking stunk of like feet. She
Ugh.
literally had to move her dirty bra and some other clothes off the fucking couch. There was shit all over the floor, like
That's
Oscar Madison was
disgusting.
on Twitter. It was disgusting.
That's
So
real.
I guess that's the difference between being in a band that sells a lot and doesn't sell a lot, but doesn't
Being
matter.
in a hardcore band and
Yeah.
Totally.
That
100%.
was
Being
disgusting.
on the second stage and being a main stage band. But anyway, that's my pick. Candace from Walls of Jericho.
Very cool.
That was disgusting.
That's amazing. That's a great story.
Yeah, it was
Chris,
gross. It was gross. Trust me, it was
I
gross.
love your stories, Chris.
Great imagery. I can picture like I'm there.
I
Dude,
feel like
you know,
I want to
like-
spray Lysol in my room right now. I'm
Like,
You should.
you ever go to
You
somebody's
should.
house and it's so dirty you don't want to sit down or get a glass
yeah.
of water? That was the Walls of Jericho tour bus.
You want to take a deep breath?
gross.
We do this interview in Lacuna Coil's tour bus.
Yeah, can we go over there, please?
Totally. If only they were
Outside,
parked closer.
anywhere but in here. Oh, Sydney, you have the unenvious position of following that one.
Oh yeah. Nobody can match up to Chris Al's stories anyway, so no.
No.
So I'm gonna go kind of in chronological order, more than I guess ranking from my favorite to least favorite, because it was kind of hard for me to pick just I guess one single favorite. So I'm gonna go chronologically, with my top three at least. So my number three, I was kind of going through the decades, and I ended up going with Joni Mitchell. Just because I was really thinking about it, and obviously I was thinking like Ann Wilson, female vocalist from the 70s that really pioneered the way. But I feel like, I don't know, Ann Wilson is fantastic. She's on my honorable mentions list, but everybody, thinks Ann Wilson when they think of the 70s. But I think that Joni Mitchell is so, I mean, in a way she's underrated when it comes to not only her voice and like the very kind of like falsetto, tones that she would do in those tracks, especially in Blue, which is the album that I chose specifically. I love the song River. Kind of like my introduction to kind of that song was surprise for people who know me, but Almost Famous, that soundtrack and everything. That was kind of my introduction to like hearing that song and really listening to Joni Mitchell. And she's just such a fantastic songwriter, aside from her, vocal stylings as well. Her lyrics always had a message of some kind, whether that was, socially conscious or even, deeply, romantic or whatever. So I really just love Joni Mitchell, and I think that she deserves a little bit more cred sometimes. So she's going to be my first choice.
And a very good one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mr. Scow, you're up.
All right. So going through trying to figure out just 3 or 5, it's very difficult, as I'm sure all of you agree.
Yes.
I decided to go with a couple newer bands that I like and I listen to all the time, and the more obscure bands, but I think they deserve a little mention. So I'm gonna start off with a Canadian band from Montreal, actually good friends of mine. Band is I got props, of course, you got a little heavy metal show and tell. So the band is Cauchemar. Everything's in French with this band. It's French for Nightmare. The album is Chapelle Ardente, came out in 2016. Love that art there with the coffin. And this is kind of like the singer is a friend of mine, Anecdotes, friends for a long time. This is kind of like early Black Sabbath, like 70 to 71 Black Sabbath, band Pentagram, some of the newer bands like Blood Ceremony, Devil's Blood. It's kind of in that realm. The biggest comparisons, probably if you know them, the obscure old English band Pagan Altar, very right in the altar, right in the wheelhouse here. And everything in this, all the lyrics are in French. I don't speak French, but it doesn't really matter. And one of the coolest things is that the organ on the sound was they used pipe organ. They used the pipe organ from the Notre Dame Basilica in Montreal. This giant, let's see if I can get it a fucking glare. This giant pipe organ in this old cathedral. The organ's over like it was built in 1891. I had to look up, and it's just an awesome. Like if you're into like that old, like obviously Black Sabbath, but like that old style, like doomy pentagram kind of heavy metal. This band, you would absolutely love them. Even if you don't speak French, it doesn't matter. Like how often do you have to really understand the lyrics? You can just throw them through Google Translate if it bothers you that much. But I'm going to pick a song because I figure a lot of people wouldn't know the band. So the song I'm going to go with is the first one from the album. It's called Necromancy. I guess it's pronounced the same in English or French. And yeah, I like these a lot. So I'm going with Cauchemar from Montreal, Canada. My first choice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You know what, Ryan? You go to Canada more than I do, which is a hard feat to accomplish.
I
And
do.
you go to Montreal, and how have you not learned how to speak French yet?
I'll tell you, Butch, because everybody in Montreal speaks English, and I'm lazy.
They just make you try first.
I was told if I went up further north to like Quebec City, it's much more French oriented. But in Montreal, because it's only a couple minutes from the U.S. border, everywhere I go, everyone just speaks English. So it's never been it's never even come up. But I've thought about that. I'm like, I really got to learn to speak French because before
Avec
the
fromage.
Obviously that's my favorite. And I will not eat poutine in any place on earth except for Montreal. Because anywhere else, it fucking sucks. So
I've had poutine in Edmonton, and it was great.
Oh, that's still
I
Canada.
bet you have.
Okay.
Go Canada.
That's still Canada. But nowhere in the States. I'll say nowhere in the States.
Nowhere in the
Everywhere I've had it. Right.
There's an adjustment. Nowhere in the
It's gotta be in
States.
Montreal.
Lynn, let's see how many people catch that. Andy caught it.
Yeah, it figures us three.
I'll add too, Anik, besides singing in this band, she has to be probably the most metal person I know. She runs her own record label, Temple of Mystery Records, and she used to put on a little festival in Montreal that I've talked about a few times called Wings of Metal. And they only held, it was like probably half the size of the Chance of Poughkeepsie. So you only held like 200 people at this venue. But she got a Voivod, Manila Road, Satan. She brought over fucking Angel Witch from England.
Wow.
So she always got these great, awesome bands to play in this little intimate setting. She brought over the English band Blitzkrieg, if you remember them. Nope, sorry, I misspoke. The band Holocaust, not Blitzkrieg. Wrong new wave band. But she'd always bring over these awesome bands, got a lot of local talent. So, and on top of all that, yeah, she sings in this band. So,
Cool.
She runs Temple of Mystery, huh? Wow, that's good to know.
yeah, she runs Temple of Mystery Records.
Wow, very cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that band out because that sounds like something to be right up my alley.
You would love this album, Pete. Absolutely. I'll send you the link. You would absolutely love it.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. All right, my number 3 choice here, among many. I keep jotting more down here. There's just too many good ones, but I'm gonna go with a Dutch singer who I've liked for quite a long time. She originally came to fame in a band called The Gathering. She's had a long solo career. She's sung with Devin Townsend and all sorts of stuff. Anneke van Giersbergen. And I'm going to go with the Gathering album Mendalion, which is the first album she appeared on. But either this or Nighttime Birds are probably the 2 pinnacle albums from The Gathering, as far as I'm concerned, with her on it. But I think she sang on like 6 or 7 albums in total, something around there. Great singer. She's a wonderful person. I've had the pleasure of meeting her back towards the end of her time with this band. Great singer. She can do aggressive stuff, but she's just got this angelic voice. She's just absolutely beautiful as well. Really, really nice person. And I think if you're not familiar with this band or this album, go and check out Strange Machines. This album is pretty doomy. The first couple of Gathering albums with her on vocals were more kind of like doom metal, but still she's got those kind of angelic vocals. And then they kind of morphed into more of almost like an alternative rock band or atmospheric rock band. And now in her solo career, she does kind of a little bit of everything. And she's done some, like I said, some stuff with Devin Townsend. Great, great singer. Probably, for my money, the singer who really kickstarted that whole kind of European female fronted metal thing and never got the credit for it. You know, Tarja and all these other singers came after her and they got kind of all the acclaim, but I think it's Anneke who actually is the one who kind of started that whole thing. So Anneke van Giersbergen is my first choice here today.
Cool. I bought her M&Ms in Albany.
What's that?
I bought her peanut M&Ms in Albany.
Stop it, Lynn. Stop it,
At
Lynn.
Cumberland's.
I didn't say nothing.
We got to see her on the Amorphous tour, right?
Yeah, I was hanging out with Morphus and by extension her.
And and that song she does on that Amorphous record is just amazing.
Yeah, Beyond Stars.
Yeah, Beyond us. Oh, I just love that song. So
I like fucking peanut M&Ms too, so don't forget me next time. Do I have to have a vagina to get peanut M&Ms? You motherfucker. Sorry.
All right, Mr. Franco.
Oh yes. So as everybody was saying, you know, there's so many classic vocalists from our youth and from the 70s and 80s and all that, you know, you could definitely, you know, like Ann Wilson I was going to pick, but I figured everybody else would be talking about her. So I decided, similar to Ryan, I decided to go with some young up and coming vocalists that, you know, it's not so much important sometimes who you are, but when you are in music, you know, like a lot of these young girls today, like they're just not going to get the recognition that people got in the 70s and 80s because very few people like good music anymore. So I'm going with New York City's own Tower. The band is called Tower, and the vocalist is Sarah Beth Linden.
Nice.
You know them?
Oh, great band. Yeah.
Yeah. And Sarah Beth is I think she's from New York City because I saw them at what was it, Vitus, right, Brian?
We saw them in St. Vitus, yep.
Yeah, and I had heard about them, and I was like, oh, looking forward to it. And this woman comes out on stage, Sarah Beth, and she's tall and statuesque, and everything's on point, and she's got some pipes. I mean, she can lay it down. Her voice is incredible. I mean, her energy level, the way she keeps, she just keeps the energy level through the gas pedal down through the whole thing. They only have 2 albums out. The one I have here is self-titled Tower. There's a million bands called Tower. That's the problem. But if you look Tower New York City on social media, you'll find them, Tower NYC. And they've opened for a lot of, classic new wave British heavy metal bands and stuff like that. They get themselves on the bill. They just put out another album, but then this pandemic hit. But hopefully they'll keep their momentum as we hopefully come out of this year. But everyone who loves like powerful hard rock and metal female singers, Sarah Beth Linden is a freaking powerhouse, and I think she's just getting started in her career. So Sarah Beth.
You get a rooted review for them for you, Pete, a few years ago.
Yeah, you didn't like it.
I was gonna say,
I didn't.
which doesn't like.
I think it's a good album. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah. Well,
She does a killer version of Boston's some Boston tune with 2 Minutes to Late Night, the Vegas comedy thing, and yeah, they're a pretty cool band. I was supposed to see them open for Uli John Roth, and got snowed out.
Yeah.
Does that mean too much? You had too much cocaine? Is that
No.
got snowed out, man?
Yeah, well, being on the West Coast, that would mean I did too much coke. Being in New
No,
York,
that means that everywhere.
No, that means 1992.
That means everywhere. Sorry, sorry, man. I can't shut up sometimes. I'm sorry.
Mr. Freeman, you're up next.
I am.
Yes, you are.
I'm trying. I'm always unprepared.
He's not the first in line. He's the first in line, not the last.
Oh, Steve. Every show, same joke. He's not the first in line. He's the last.
He's got it in his pocket, waiting to roll out.
Wait, Steve,
Come
Jones.
to Rock Fantasy.
That's
Buy a
on this one.
record.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
So this one is this is a singer who was kind of moderately popular in the late 90s, mid to late 90s. And her name was Skin.
Oof.
And she was in a band called Skunk and Nancy. I don't know if anybody ever heard of them
Oh
before.
my God.
Yeah.
I've heard of them.
She was fucking, she's still around, but but it was just like what's the correct term, Butch?
Just say it.
What's the correct term?
A fierce
Okay.
black woman.
She was a strong black woman, and she is a strong black woman. She's from England, in the UK, and was just bald, completely shaved head, and she had this song. They had a song in a soundtrack to, I think it was a Bruce Willis movie, I think, and it was called Selling Jesus was the name of the song. And it just fucking tore my head off the first time I heard it. And then I bought the record. I can't remember the name of the record. Sorry, because it's not available on iTunes, but there's like a greatest hits from the early records that they made. But they've been making records, I think, right up to like 2018. But there was this other song called, I think it was called Political. And it was it's the type of band like a Rage Against the Machine that should be still going on right now and should still be important right now. Because I don't know if you guys listen to a lot of political rock, but it feels like everything that they were singing about 30, 40 years ago is even further than that. It's still happening now. Like it still applies. So, and the hook was, everything would just kind of like a kick drum would just go and she'd be like, yes, it's fucking political. Everything's political. Yes, it's fucking satirical. Everything's satirical. It's just, I'm telling you, if you get a chance, check it out because it tore my head off, and it still does to this day. Like I still get goosebumps thinking about it. So Skunk Anansie, singer's name is Skin. There you go. I have no problems.
Nice.
She's on Seven Dust's second record.
Is she?
Yeah,
know that.
she's on a song on that. Yep.
Yep.
She's a
So there you
bad.
Yeah.
What's
And
your-
I'm also not, I'm not going for the, somebody said it before. I'm not going for a lot of the people that, you know, everybody would pick. You know, I kind of want to dig a little deeper. I don't, you know, because obviously Pat Benatar, no offense, but obviously Pat Benatar, obviously, what's her name from Heart? Obviously, you know, Stevie Nicks, obviously, you know, Great Slick, obviously Janis Joplin, obviously, you know what I mean? Those unbelievable singers, unbelievable stuff. You know, Stevie Nicks is one of my favorites. But I would rather, you know, dig a little bit personally because there's a lot of really good ones out there. So that just don't get the recognition, you know. So
Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
piggybacking
Wilson.
off of that, here's my second one. And actually, you guys were saying how difficult this is. This is like the easiest thing in the world. I've had these three favorites for 30 years. So this was as soon as Pete, you said you wanted to do that, I'm like, oh, that's easy. No more thought at all. So this is really simple. But my second one is somebody that Lynn, you might know him. I might know her. I don't know if you other guys know her or not, but she is definitely my second favorite singer of all time. Out of New Jersey, they made 2 records. I saw them once. I don't think I saw them twice. I think I only saw them once. I'm going to show you the first album cover because you can actually kind of see her a little bit. On the second one, you can't, but the second one is my favorite. The band is called Soraya.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Sandy
Soraya.
Soraya.
them.
Soraya is
Blast
the
from the
singer.
past.
And
Yes.
this is the album that crushes When the Blackbird Sings, which is their second record. For people that say, hey, that name sounds familiar a little bit. She got married to Brian Wheat from Tesla in the 90s.
Did she?
Yep.
Are they still married?
No.
No.
So I guess it didn't last very long. But
Well.
Sandy Soraya, god damn, I don't even know how to even describe her. She just has a ballsy voice that don't have a for lack of a better term, a mamby-pamby kind of just
I
girly
agree.
voice. I think if you're gonna if you're gonna be in a hard rock metal band and you're gonna front guys, you gotta have balls that carry,
Yeah.
that you can command the audience full of guys. Who's that, Nick?
Like Tower, like Sarah Beth.
Shut up.
I agree.
She does have balls.
But Sandy Soraya, her voice, I know that they're not very well known, even though that they did have a major deal in the late 80s going into the 90s. And her guitar player Tony Bruno has gone on to do a lot of great things. He's been the musical director for Rihanna, who he was the guy that got Nuno Betancourt to be the guitar player in Rihanna. Not that has anything really to do with it, but little side story. But I love Sandy Soraya's voice. I mean, if you guys just go and honestly, it doesn't really make a difference what song you pull up from them, either one of the records, but she just has a great voice, and the songs were great, and the drum production is one of my favorites. Like if I ever have something in my head that I'm trying to get a good drum tone, that's one of my albums that I go to is When the Blackbird Sings, for sure. I just love Sandy Soraya's voice. She gets no credit. No one ever talks about her. But God, she has literally been one of my favorite singers since the 80s, since the late 80s. And I
That
love
first record is really great too. They're both pretty great.
it. It
records.
is. It's a little
Yeah.
bit more commercial, and I'm a more guitar-oriented, heavier guy. So the second
like
album
the
for me
second record.
is the shit.
Right.
But like you said, yeah, the first record's great. She just has an angelic, beautiful, raspy, again, kind of a raspy voice. I love her.
Good choice. I haven't heard of that band in so long.
Oh gosh, she's so great.
Very cool.
I don't know where we were going, but I remember you telling me to shut up in your car and you played her for me.
Yeah, but
Just
everybody
be
tells you to shut up in their car, Lynn.
Yeah,
Everybody does.
yeah. I know.
Shut up.
Lynn,
See
stop
the-
talking.
See the abuse I've been taking for years? Unbelievable.
All right, Lynn,
I guess
wow us with your next
Fucking
pick.
zip it.
I'm not zipping it. I'm never gonna zip it. It's
You
not
can't zip it.
happening.
She's got to go next. She's got to wow.
I'm
us.
going next. I'm not
Yours.
zipping. So actually, it was already mentioned. Lacuna Coil. Chris Alba mentioned her. Christina Scabia from Milan, Italy. She is my next. I actually worked the show at the Chance in 2016. Lacuna Coil played, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god, who is this chick?" I mean, the whole band is amazing, right? I mean, I just like them since then anyway, but she's great. I love her vocals, and she does a really killer song of Depeche Mode. Is it Enjoy the Silence? So I don't know if you guys ever heard her do that cover. It's a really killer cover of that Depeche Mode. And I liked Depeche Mode back in the day. You know, Depeche Mode was a cool band. But in 2019, she has the song called Save Me, and it's about not giving up. And again, I think that can resonate with a lot of people that have a lot going on in their lives and stuff like that. But her voice is just, to me, it's ridiculous. The layers of time. I mean, it starts off with that crazy bass line, and then she comes in. I don't know. Her voice is fucking amazing. I love her. So Christina Scabia from Milan, Italy, in Lacuna Coil for me is my number 2.
Very cool.
Excellent.
Awesome. Very good choice.
I bet she makes a good gravy.
You know, we could have like a gravy
Better.
winner.
I mean, she's Italian, and she likes to eat, so she makes
Who
makes
doesn't?
good gravy.
For everybody watching in the rest of the world, gravy means marinara sauce, I think.
Sauce.
And, it's spaghetti sauce in the rest of the world. So he's not saying anything dirty.
Yes.
No.
Gravy is not actually gravy or man gravy.
Brown gravy.
Well,
Say,
she
but
can make
it's,
a good
brown
gravy.
gravy. You had to
I had to get
specify
real
that.
close to explain it.
Yeah.
So,
She might make a good gravy also.
hey, hey, she makes good gravy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've
It's
seen
a
Lacuna
spaghetti
Coil
sauce.
a bunch of times.
Everybody in the Midwest, spaghetti sauce.
Gravy or the sauce depends on where you're from. Because I know
Hey,
most of my family's from the Lower East Side of New York City, and they all call it gravy down there. But
Sunday gravy.
it's gravy, right?
Yeah.
But I call it sauce. But I grew up with everybody calling it gravy. So
yeah,
Depends on where you're
as
from.
did I, my friend. As did I.
There's gravy and there's brown gravy. That's how it was in my
Oh, yeah.
house.
Yeah, same. I also thought it was cool that she wrote alongside Vinnie Paul for Revolver magazine. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm. Yeah, I
Pretty
remember
awesome.
seeing them at Ozfest, and they were the first band in the morning, went on at like 10 a.m. Is that the one you were talking about, Chris? When they were on?
No, that
the
was-
beginning, right?
That was earlier on. The one I was talking about, 2006, they'd already jumped from the
Okay.
second stage to the main stage. They were
Yeah.
doing well.
Yeah, they were. My wife's a giant fan of them also, and Scott was with me. We went and saw the Ozfest, whatever year it was. It was like they were the first band on in the morning.
Long time.
I remember-
ago, that.
Oh, it was all about 20 years ago. Yeah,
You know, we had to get up
I
at like
remember-
3 a.m. to get down there. I remember that.
I was
all
gonna say,
day
I remember
events.
running off a bus in Germany to see them at the Wacken Open Air in 2001
Ooh,
because their second album hadn't even come out yet. I don't think, maybe it just come out, and they were like first band on like Friday morning because they hadn't really sold anything yet. So yeah, that record Coma Lies really, blew them up. I mean, my sister,
Yeah.
who's not a music person, came up to me and was like, "Hey, what do you think of this band Lacuna Coil?" And that's when I was like, "Wow, like they're like really
Yeah.
tapping into the mainstream." With my sister, who doesn't know
Yeah.
anything about music, coming up,
nice.
kind of like in the '90s when people were coming up to me, like I'm sure with you guys, "Hey, what do you know about this band Savatage?" And I'm like, "What?" It's because that Christmas song was on one of those Savatage records.
Yeah.
Same kind of.
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Lacuna Coil had changed their look a lot because I saw
Yeah.
them at the Revolver, like the Golden Gods, and they came out and we thought they were like, I was like, wow, they almost looked like Slipknot. They had all these where they never had that kind of a gimmick.
Well, she was dating that guy from Slipknot for like years, Jim Root.
Oh, okay, yeah, I
They were
remember that.
together for I don't know, quite a
Nice.
few years. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
They came out with like all makeup and everything on.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
yeah, they look even weirder now. But that's a whole other story.
all right, Steve, what's your next pick?
My next pick, I'm glad nobody else has picked her yet because Butch was talking about you got to have balls to lead a band. Oh, he just mentioned before on stage with a bunch of guys, and who had more balls than Wendy O. Williams?
Oh yeah, dude.
She was
That was
on my
my next
honorable
pick,
mentions.
actually.
On my list.
She's
And,
on my honorable
I
mention.
was lucky enough to get, I wasn't really into them in the very beginning when they were the real punky stuff,
Yep.
but I got to see them on the Coupe d'Etat tour at the Chance and I believe at the Civic Center. And what an amazing performance. Like she commanded that stage like a dictator. No one's ever listened to the Plasmatics, please go out and listen to
So good.
Mr. Taboo.
I love the
Listen
play.
to No Class, the Motorhead cover they do, Master Plan from the album before that. I mean, just a solid. And I mean, she used to change. I mean, not at the Chance. I don't remember what she did there exactly, but she used to drive cars off like Eva Knievel type shit, drive cars on the fucking walls and.
Well, what was the video she did? She was on top of the bus.
Yeah,
Damned.
Yeah, on top of the bus.
the
and it crashed
Damned.
the bus.
Was
that-
it?
Yeah. that was a big.
Damned from Coup d'Etat.
Yeah,
That's a great
such a
fucking
great
video.
song.
Yeah.
So
Total Mad Max. shit.
Wendy O. Williams,
Can I
God
tell you a
rest
quick
her soul.
Wendy O story real quick?
please.
Go for it.
Yeah, I was well, I know what's the guitar, but you've seen a guitar player before at NAMM, haven't you, Butch?
Richie Stotts.
No, Bouvier. Is it John Bouvier?
John
or-
Bouvier.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah. He's around Hollywood a lot. I've seen him many times. And he's still, I mean, he just looks older, but he doesn't have the big mohawk.
Still have the
anymore.
mohawk.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. But it's usually down. The times I've seen him, it's down. And it's just like a long hair thing, but he's still, you can still see it's him. But this first actual real recording, it wasn't a record, but first real recording session I ever did was at a place in Fairfield, New Jersey called Broccoli Rab Studios. And it was, do you remember Broccoli Rab?
Yes, I do.
It was right next door to Stars. Do you remember
Yep.
the booking agency with Steve Tarkanish?
Steve Tarkanish.
Yeah, Kirkanish. Yeah. So I was playing with my brother, like I was 16 years old. And so we got this producer guy, we paid a bunch of money to, he was selling us the dream. And then we had a career consultation with Steve Tarkanish, whatever, at Stars. And honestly, some of the things he told me back when I was 16 years old still are in the back of my head when I do things, for marketing and such, but it was a total just, yeah, you guys are great. I'm going to make you a big star sort of a thing, So, and when my brother involved, there was always some, bullshit going on. So we go into the studio, 48 track, tape, whatever, big, Neve console in there. And Wendy O was doing her solo album, one of her solo records. This is 86.
Yeah.
And so we were going in whenever she wasn't there, So we walked in there one day and there was a sign on the console, like with big pieces of, like painter's tape, or board tape, and it said, we are in the middle of a mix. If you touch anything, we will know, and we will kill you. We will boil you, and we will eat you. And at the bottom, somebody drew the WOW logo, right? All right, we're like, wow, okay, cool. Somebody still has it. I mean, it's somewhere, but but back then you didn't think of it. It was just like, because there was people all over Jersey, back in the day. You walk in somewhere and you go down the boardwalk, you see Bon Jovi or whoever else back then, and but it was just like looking back now, I'm just like, fuck, man, how cool was that we were like, getting kicked out and being threatened by Wendy O. Williams, you know what I mean? Like now it's like, well, it's the coolest thing that ever happened to me. So anyway, there you go.
Hey, did Steve Tarkanish promise you to get on the Uncle Floyd show?
Oh, I hope, you know what? Maybe. I feel like we were going to go on the what's his name? Joe
Franklin.
Joe Franklin. Joe Franklin.
Oh my God.
Or the
Wow.
unleavened experience of a lifetime. Joe Franklin.
Joe.
Yeah, there's two of my friends out here. All we do is talk about Joe Franklin. I see them
Oh,
both ex-New Yorkers.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So
It
anyway,
is.
there you go.
I'll
Sorry to
quick-
cut you off. Sorry to
That's
get in.
I'm going to
No,
tell
that's
us a
great.
Wendy O story as well, and I've told it on the channel before, but not on the show. Those of you. So back right around the same time, Andrew, probably around 86, maybe it was 87. Her and her solo band played at SUNY New Paltz.
Oh, cool.
Right. So I was going to New Paltz at the time. I was working at the campus television station. So we had the opportunity to interview her, or I had the opportunity to interview her because I was like the one metalhead who worked at the station. And it seemed like a
Sure.
perfect choice. So we get there and we got all the equipment, the camera, the microphones, all that kind of stuff. And she takes a look at me. We start talking to her. And of course, she's like, like 4'8" or whatever. She's really, really tiny. And, I've got the long hair. I'm like 180 pounds, right? And she's like, yeah, I'm psyched to do this interview. She goes, I have one stipulation. I said, sure, name it. She goes, I want you on my shoulders while we're doing the interview. And I looked at her and they looked at me and I was like, well, how's that going to work? I mean, I'm like twice the size of you. She goes, don't worry. I'm tough. I'm real strong. So I'm like, all right. And I'm like, how's this going to work? So she literally bent down, got on the floor. She had me get up on her shoulders. She stood up and she walked around the dressing room with me on top of her with the microphone and did the entire interview that way.
What?
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's so amazing.
Oh, she was
So
fucking
nice,
kind, man.
So sweet.
That is badass.
Went out there
One
and
of a
took my
kind.
gas and yeah.
I don't know
wish
what
that-
story I was expecting you to tell, but it was not that.
Well, you know,
I
like,
wish there was a photo of that still. Let's see.
you know what, like the thing with her, like, what's his name from Jackal, the singer from Jackal, Jesse James Dupree, like he got credit for cutting up everything with a chainsaw,
Yeah.
No fucking,
Yeah.
he got that from her.
Totally.
He did that
Oh, yeah,
before he.
Wendy did that first.
That is
Oh, yeah,
badass.
She took a whole bunch of fiberglass to the face once too, when she cut something up. I can't remember
Yeah, I
what
was
it
gonna
was.
say, she used to cut TV. She cut wood.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
on stage she did something and it just
Yeah.
sprayed up in her face, and she went to the hospital for that. I know, but she
is,
was fucking intense, man. So there you go.
And,
I'm
of
gonna say
course, another band that's still around, that's female fronted, actually named themselves after her. Butcher Babies.
Butcher Babies.
Oh, Butcher Babies, yeah.
Were named after Plasmatics, and she used to spit little plastic babies out into the crowd. My buddy
Interesting.
drove to the show with me. He goes, "Holy shit!" He was like, "There was, seeing them live was just this big experience." And he's
Yeah.
like, "They spit this. She spit a baby at me." Like these little plastic babies.
That's great.
I want to piggyback real quick. Two things for Wendy.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough when, I don't even remember what year it was, 87, 88, probably in that same era, Pete, that you met her. I got a chance to open for her at the Chance on Easter Sunday. So
Wow.
think about the Plasmatics on Easter
I remember
Sunday.
that. I remember
Fantastic.
Exactly. That was classic. And for anyone out there, I don't know if any of you guys are big SCTV fans like I have been since I was 11 years old.
Sure.
But SCTV to me is still the funniest sketch comedy show ever made. Forget SNL, SCTV out of Canada, the greatest ever. There was a great scene or a great skit that they called with John Candy called The Fishing Musician. And they did an episode with the Plasmatics where she came up, and you can find it on YouTube because I have it on DVD.
Yeah.
And she cuts up TVs and all
Destroys the
sorts.
place.
It's hysterical.
Yeah, I've seen that.
If anyone is interested, look up SCTV, the fishing musician, and you'll find it.
Oh,
Nice.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan.
Like City Television was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
So many like stars came from that show.
absolutely.
Eugene Levy and John Candy and Rick
Martin
Moranis.
Short.
Yep, absolutely.
Take off to the
Yeah.
Great White North.
All right, our center square is up. Mr. Allo.
Oh, that's me. Okay. Woohoo. All right. Yeah. Steve took my my pick. I was definitely gonna say Wendy O. Williams.
I got it.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I was gonna say that SCTV episode in '81 that totally gave me a fear boner. Watching Wendy O. Williams come out, I was like, what the fuck?
With
Well,
the electrical
anyway,
tape.
Since
love that
Steve
clip.
took that one, I'm going to go with my all-time favorite vocalist, Simone from Epica, Dutch symphonic metal band. I'd never heard of them. I was in, I told the story before on Pete's show, but I was at the Grass Pop Metal meeting in Belgium in 2003 or 4, and I was in the photo pit, and I was going to leave after whatever band, and some Dutch guy was like, he was like, "Hey, where are you going?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going to go get a hot dog or something, whatever I was going to do." And he's like, "Well, aren't you going to catch Epica?" I'm like, "I don't know who that is." I'm like, "I never heard them before. They must be nobody because they're nobody in America." He's like, "They're amazing. It's symphonic metal, the female vocalist, blah, 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 blah." I was like, "All right." So I stuck around and my jaw was open the whole time, catching flies. They were amazing. I think I shot like maybe, I don't know, 600 pictures of that set and like 400 are Simone. But she's an amazing vocalist. She's, I don't know, she's a mezzo soprano, they say, which I always like because that reminds me of like mozzarella or some kind of Italian food. But anyway, they're an awesome band. They're like all over the place because they play like heavy shit and light stuff, and they're cool. So me and Pete did a whole video on them. I guess probably Divine Conspiracy. If I had to pick a record, that's I think that's my favorite record.
I did the U.S. tour for that record. Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was their guitar tech for a little while.
Oh, nice.
I know those guys really well. Yeah, when I got asked to do. I was living in LA. I got asked to do a tour. Again, my brother was going out and doing a tour, and he said, "Hey, I'm doing this 2-week thing. My guitar tech just left because he's a crew guy. So my guitar tech just left, and he's going on the road with Foreigner, and I'm stuck, and we got to leave in a week." So he said, we're going out. This is this band Camelot and opening band Epica. You got to work for both. I said, okay, cool. So I went out, did the tour with them, I ended up riding an Epica's bus, and I became great friends with them. And then I went out with their first US headlining tour. I went out with them as well. So I know those guys really well. Simone and even Yves was in the band still, but he left. Yves Hutz, I was friends with him, and Kuhn, and all the guys. They're just great people. And Simone's a phenomenal singer and just a super great person. So really nice, good friends. So yeah, cool. Good choice. Yeah,
nice.
Small world, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I'd never heard of them before either. I'm just like, who? Okay, cool. Yeah. And I introduced me to this whole symphonic metal thing. So, but I made some really good friends on the tour. So it's good. So,
Sydney, you're up.
All right. So like I said, I'm kind of going a little bit chronologically. And so I kind of moved to the 80s next. I did Joni Mitchell. So I'm kind of moving to the 80s next. And of course, you got Joan Jett, you got Lita Ford, you got all, those main players. But I wanted to go actually with Janet Gardner from the band Vixen. And I love Vixen. Yeah, I love Vixen because, at that time, metal has always been a male-dominated industry, but especially on the Sunset Strip in the 80s. I mean, it was pretty much the guys playing the bands, the guys pick up the girls are the group, it was that type of vibe. And Vixen, I feel like, was just an all-female band, and it was just like so badass to like look back on that time period and like see this all-female band like, just killing it. And although Janet Gardner's vocals, they aren't, I guess I want to say sometimes the most like technical, I feel like she has such an incredible higher range that even like, trying to like sing those songs, like just in my life, like those top notes, like even on like, you look at the big hits, like Edge of a Broken Heart, like are kind of really insane when you like kind of look back and listen to them. Mm-hmm. So I feel like she doesn't get enough appreciation as she should have, especially for that time period. Like I mentioned, obviously you have, Lita Ford and the Joan Jetts, you know what I mean? Like those were kind of the obvious choices and the staples, but I feel like Janet Gardner is really forgotten. They did those 2 big records and then, the 90s hit and we all know what happened. So I really wanted to go with her for my second pick.
Cool.
Good choice.
Yeah. Nice. I have a really funny story. Can I tell a really funny story about that? I'm gonna anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say it anyway.
Shut up, Lynn.
Everybody else tells a story. I have a story. So I'm in LA back again, the late 80s, and there was this rock and roll auction, and I won this. It's a Vixen Crying tissue box. It was like a promo from EMI Records, and I still have it somewhere. Awesome. I didn't unpack yet because I just moved into this house, but I still have that Vixen Crying tissue box from EMI Records from the Sunset Strip. It was some like rock and roll auction. It was fucking awesome. And side note, she just played the Chance a couple years ago, and she smokes like a fucking fiend, and her vocals are still amazing. She was so good, so nice.
She recently left. I know she left Vixen, and Lorraine Lewis sang for Femme Fatale came in. And she's doing a bunch of solo stuff now, which that's another one we just add to the list. throwback to last week's episode, Time Machine Concerts. Wanted to see that because I never got to see her in
Yeah.
Vixen. So that's
Oh
just
my
let's
God.
just
So
this is
good.
every episode. I'm just gonna add another one to that
So
episode
good.
list.
Yeah.
That's one of them. But yeah, she recently left.
Absolutely.
She's fantastic, and I feel like she definitely, you know, that era has its stereotypes or whatever, and she definitely
No
doesn't
question.
get the credit she deserves. But
I
that's
wanted to be Roxy Petrucci on drums, you know. I was like,
yeah, and she's still killing it, and she still looks freaking
Yeah.
great.
killer.
I saw him
She's
at
killer.
M3 last year, and it was like, damn. Yeah,
Yep.
they're awesome.
Amen.
Very cool.
That was awesome.
All right, Ryan, you're up.
All right, so back in 2014, I was in my my other home, which is not Montreal, Chicago. Between those two, I'm always over there. I'm in Chicago, a couple friends, and one of my friends is like, "Hey, there's this little show going on downtown, but you know, a bunch of like local nobody bands. But let's go check it out." So we're going down there, and I was like 6, 7, 8 beers, real many beers into it, and this band goes on that I never heard of until that moment, and they just blew me the fuck into the stratosphere. So they are, I believe, from somewhere in Michigan, and they are called Savage Master, and it looks like a Ken Kelly art, but it's not. So these guys, it's like they're a new band. This album came out in 2019, and the singer is Stacy Savage, and they got this great thing going on where they came on stage, and everybody, the whole band is guys except for this vocalist. Everybody in the band's wearing this black executioner hood. You can't see anybody's face, and she comes on, and it's just like the classic metal image. She's got like a cape, spikes, bullets, you know, just this whole outfit, this whole thing going on here. And I got some great pictures. So, because the pictures of this band are fucking awesome. So they all come out, and it's like kind of classic, like old Riot, old Acid, Warlock, like early 80s metal, but like real up-tempo, aggressive. They did a fucking awesome cover of Swords and Tequila by Riot that night. And I'm just there. I was pretty fucked up, but they just blew me into the next dimension. And they were a new band at the time, going back to like 7, 8 years ago. So they were a new band, and she was still kind of like getting into the role of a vocalist. Still good, and I've seen them many times over the year. They keep getting better and better. I just saw 2 years ago they were opening for Guar, so they're already like kind of getting up there on a full U.S. tour. And the best picture I got from this band. This is from their previous EP, Creature of the Flames. But I had to draw this picture up. This is fucking awesome. So here's the band. Torturing some poor nuns, you know, because doing metal like nuns. So, you know, they got those poor nuns down crying all bloody and stuff. And there she is, you know, cape, spikes, leather pants, you know, spiked metal bra. So just like that kind of that classic, you know, hammer horror kind of, obviously a little bit from the punk band, The Mentors, but they don't really sound like that. They had a little of that.
I was just going to say, they look like the Mentors.
It doesn't have that punk feel, but with the executioner's hood. That's what I thought when they took the stage. I'm like, is this a Mentors cover band? And then they go up and they just start playing this kick-ass early fucking 80s heavy metal. Just like blew me away.
Which would have been rad too if a Mentors cover band came on stage.
Oh yeah, I would have had no problems with that. I saw them.
Totally.
My first choice, Koshmar, Annex band. I saw them at her fest a couple times. I've seen them a couple times. They played St. Vitus in Brooklyn. And every time they just get better and better, and her vocals get better and better. You know, it's not like kind of like a soaring, like like the symphonic. You know, it's definitely more of a gruff kind of fitting for that music. And she has awesome stage presence. You know, just like Wendy O. She's probably, I don't think, even 5 feet tall, but just a total powerhouse live. She just gets up right in front. You know, just starts like, you know, headbanging right into the crowd. Absolute fucking mania. Crowd's going crazy. Everybody's probably 3 seats to the wind. Nobody gives a fuck. Like, it's that kind of band, you know, really like, you know, fist banging, like intense stuff. And so out of the 6 times I've seen him, like, it's just like every time I'll go see them with anybody. Like, I don't give a fuck because they're just that good live. It's just that total intensity, the energy. So if I had to pick a song, I'm going to go with the second song from awesome back artwork too, with the candles and everything too. So I'm going to go with the second song from this album. This is Myth, Magic, and Steel. Came out in 2019. I'm going with the second song, The Devil's Ecstasy, but the whole album. Like, if you like that kind of metal, like I know Steve, you love Warlock. You would love.
I'm familiar. I have that record. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I into this. Yeah, it's a really good heavy metal album, and her vocals are awesome. Their whole stage performance is awesome. You know, they just gotten better and better, and it's one of those things where now they could probably change the band members and you wouldn't know because they all wear hoods. Yeah. So
like Midnight, yeah.
And she's kind of like the centerpiece of the band because of that. So, and her vocals are just fucking awesome too. You know, very, very powerful and commanding, like that kind of metal. So, going with Savage Master here from I'm going to say Michigan,
Great.
but I could be full of shit.
Montreal.
They're not from Montreal. They're somewhere in the Midwest, which all those
She kinda-
wild states.
Upper Midwest.
She's kind of got that. She's kind of got that vibe like Betsy Bitch. You remember Betsy Bitch?
Yeah.
Good one. Good one.
Definitely a little bit of that old bitch vibe going on there too.
Yeah, very cool.
So in the spirit of not kind of repeating singers here today, that's why I'm glad my list is so enormous, because and this is one that I can't believe I forgot about, and I just wrote her in as we were starting here today, and she's amazing, and she's a perfect example of one of those singers who should be like the biggest thing since sliced bread here in this country. She's much bigger overseas. A lot of people call her like the second coming of Janis Joplin. If you've never listened to this singer, after we're done here, go onto here on YouTube and look up her live at the Paradiso concert. The name is Beth Hart. She's absolutely incredible. She's a dynamite.
Yes.
She can sing blues, pop, jazz, or fiery hard rock. She's just amazing. What a talent. She's done a couple albums with Joe Bonamassa. She's got a whole bunch of solo albums. You can look up footage. She sang with Jeff Beck on a couple of occasions, and she is the real deal. I don't have any of the, I didn't get a chance to pull out any of the CDs, but Leave the Light On was probably her biggest album, at least here. 37 Days is great. Any of her albums are really, really good, and she adds a lot of variety in all her albums. Like I said, there's bits of blues, there's some pop, a little bit of R&B and soul, some hard rock. She does it all. Amazing talent, and watch that live concert. She puts everything in her into every performance. I mean, she's just all over the place, and she's like, you can just feel the emotion. Just such a performer.
Yeah.
And she's huge in the UK. Huge.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, and she plays clubs here. She just, it's criminal that she's not bigger here.
Yeah.
And she'll steal anybody's
She's amazing.
husband if she wants to.
What's that?
She'll take anybody's man that she wants. Like you were talking, when you see her live, the sex appeal that oozes out of her, she can have anybody that she wants.
She oozes it. It just
Ooze.
She is sexy.
It's like gravy oozing.
Oh, gravy again.
Callback. That's cool. That's a callback.
All right, Nick, who you got?
Nice. So I'm going all the way out to one of my favorite places on earth, Finland, for this one.
Of
I'm
course.
going with but it's much. You'll see, it's not like some have a acronym name. Don't worry.
I hope it's a logo that I can't read.
No, I don't have any props with this.
Ah.
No, they're in that psychedelic 70s rock kind of range. And the band is Jess and
Yeah.
the singer is she calls herself Jess, which is very American sounding, but her real name is Jasmine Sarala, and she it's she never did interviews. There's like 1 or 2 interviews with her. She keeps a very low profile. She's now, I think she's had a kid, and she's a little bit older. She's on Instagram. You could like actually find her and see pictures of her with her dog. But for many years, she was like, you couldn't find her. And I think there's something to be said for that sort of like mysterious sexiness when a female vocalist can possess that. And Jasmine is just an absolute, just incredibly powerful vocalist who gets no recognition. I don't think many people know who she is, and that's a shame. People should fix that, because I've never gotten a chance to see them, but wow. Their self-titled album 2012, Just the Ancient Ones, is probably their best thing. She's actually broken off and done a solo thing called Just by the Lake, which is like a more hard rock, more like Hammond organ type stuff. But the self-titled album to which I'm referring is just an absolute friggin' masterpiece. It's like a psych rock sort of metal, because they do play. There's a lot of guitar on the album, but her voice just freaking, I mean, it's amazing. She's every bit as powerful. She reminds me a little bit of a Janis Joplin meets like more like she's got some Benatar. She's got all the elements that we love from all the classic vocalists that we're talking about.
A little Grace Slick in her too, I think.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Wrapped up in one. And if you're gonna pick a song, I would say Sulfur Giants, which is like this big Epic, which is amazing, and Prayer for Death and Fire. Rocking and rolling. She's very occult. She's very tattoos on her fingers. You know, she's got that mysterious thing going on, and she needs to get more recognition. So Jasmine Sorrell is freaking just skyrocketed in my view.
Really good.
That's Steve.
I've got a T-shirt from that band. I never got to see them either, but they did do a major tour in the States. They opened up for King Diamond.
Yeah, I
on
saw
the
that too.
Abigail
Oh, cool.
tour, and I didn't get to see him. That's when I got hit by the car, and
Oof.
somebody brought me a T-shirt though. Maybe Chris got me the shirt. I don't remember who got it, but
Could
Yeah,
be.
I don't know
I
why they-
remember they did. I think it was 4 nights at BB King's, sold out in a row, which 3 or 4 nights, which was crazy.
I didn't see that either. So
Yeah, I saw them. They were really good live, and
What
yeah,
year-
very ethereal and creepy.
That was
Yeah,
a great,
yeah,
I
great-
saw one of those shows.
Great singer, great
They were
band.
fucking great.
Yeah,
I recommend the song Astral Tower.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Astral Stab It.
Astral Sabbath.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, they were fucking great live.
They're
That was
fucking good.
They could play with King Diamond.
yeah. And you look up these little
Atmospheric
YouTube.
psychedelic doom almost.
Yep, yep. You
Yeah.
look up these YouTube clips of her playing these little clubs, and she's just killing it. She's wearing like a full length, like a full length dress that looks like she's gardening, but it works. Like
Very comparable to Devil's
conservative.
Blood, too. That band is to me. They're that same kind of atmosphere as
Yeah.
Devil's Blood. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Freeman, your final choice of the day.
Oh, it's final choice. Oh shit. All right.
Final
Well,
exam.
Pressure's
I have
on.
a couple here. I'm just gonna roll down the list, but I want to recognize somebody because Butch, whatever Butch's last one was, it reminded me of a singer that I really, really admired that I haven't heard in a long time. But here's, I'm gonna go down the list here. So I said skunk, I said skin, I said there's a singer named Sarah Barthol. She sings for a band called Fantagram. Just really hypnotic vocal. It's more, I want to say alt pop sort of a thing. She's great. Haley Williams from Paramore. The Riot record, Paramore's Riot record is her range is just phenomenal. And they're just evolving into another thing now. Like every record is different than because they were this, Warped Tour sort of punk rock, pop punk sort of thing. And then they're kind of evolving into a pop band now, it seems, but her voice is just, it's just dynamite. So that Chrissy Hind, obviously, nobody's mentioned Chrissy Hind. And I only have one song that I just could listen to on repeat. It's Brass in the Pocket over and over and over and over again. So Annie Lennox, Donita Sparks from L7, just
I remember.
dope.
Also.
Yeah. Nina Hagen. I love Nina Hagen. Let's see who else. Okay. So that's it. That's the list. But the one I want to recognize because of Butch and recognizing these obscure bands that we used to love back in the day. Her name it's either Suze or Susie. I can't figure it out. Susie DeMarchi, and she sings for a band called Baby Animals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man, Baby Animals. Because you mentioned Nuno, and they used to date.
Yeah.
And he produced one of their records. So Baby Animals, self-titled record, Baby Animals, songs like Early Warning, and I can't remember the other ones, but Early Warning is a big one that sticks out in my head because I haven't listened to it in a long time. And as you guys were talking, I was putting it in my playlist on Apple Music because I want to listen to it tomorrow when I go run. So Susie or Suze DeMarchi from Baby Animals. I don't know if you ever heard of the band. They're fucking fantastic. And the record came out in like 91, their first one, 91, 92. And I love it. So thanks, Butch, for reminding me to dig a little deeper.
And Sandy Soraya was the one I mentioned before. So remember, check out Sandy Soraya again.
Yeah, I remember saying, yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of like Andy did. Just give us your number 3 and then rattle off some honorable
Oh,
mentions.
I was actually going to do it just a little bit.
Didn't ramble.
I was actually going to do it the same way. I'm going to give you my honorable mentions real quick and then give you my last pick. So
That's fine.
So my honorable mention, of course, you have to say Pat Benatar.
Fantastic.
And I'm using Precious Time because Neil Giraldo plays one of my favorite guitar solos of all time on the song Precious Time. And for me, Benatar doesn't make the cut because she turned her back on hard rock, and I don't like that. So
Oh,
that's
come
why
on.
she doesn't make the cut. But the other ones
You stuck with Vivian Campbell when he turned his back on hard rock.
Oh,
Thank you, Andy.
Didn't you?
Thank
shit.
Thank
There's a
you.
reason
That guy's a
Thank you.
real asshole.
There's a reason
Thank
why.
you.
Viv can do no wrong on 1983. That's all I need.
Yeah.
1983.
Just the 1 year.
That's it.
What do you need
it.
from
And the
1983?
pants.
Did
And
you
the
leave
pants.
Diver, and I met him when I was 15 years old. That's it. Good enough for me.
You want to
Viv
call
gets
him?
a pass.
Listen, anyway, I didn't mean to bring a man into this situation.
That's okay. But it's Viv. That's okay. One of my other honorable mentions is Joss Stone,
Oh, I love Joss Stone.
because she's along with the Beth Hart thing. She's, man, oh man, she's got a voice and a vibe to her. It's just uber sexy. And a newer one that a lot of people might not think that I would like at all is Taylor Momsen from the Pretty Reckless.
Oh yeah, I was just listening to them
Yeah.
yesterday. They got a new record out. Great.
Because she's a young kid that gets it, and you know what? Everyone seems to love Hailstorm. I don't get it, but I'll take the Pretty Reckless over Hailstorm any day. So Taylor Momsen from the Pretty Reckless, I love her voice and I love that band. So, but my number one, listen.
Oh, I mean, come on, dude.
Everyone's mentioned Ann Wilson, and there's a reason why. I don't know if you can actually see this. I didn't even realize this. You probably can't see it with the thing on it. But my mom, when I got this album, wrote on the back of this, Dreamboat Annie, Butch Jones, January 26, 1977. So I was 9 years old. And on top of that, keeping my consistency here, January 26th is Wayne Gretzky's birthday. And it's also Edward Van Halen's birthday.
Wow.
If you can believe that. The two biggest heroes of my entire existence were born on the same day. And as a 9-year-old kid, I had no idea who either one of them were. And I happened to get Dreamboat Annie. And Ann Wilson can do no wrong. I don't give a shit. It's Ann fucking Wilson. I don't have to say anything else. That's it.
That Kennedy honors performance is like one of the greatest when they did Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say that.
The guys
Yeah.
are like crying, like Robert Plant's like visibly
Yeah.
like shed tears. It's
That
Because
was ridiculous.
you know what? To go back what I was saying before, she was the prototype of the female singer fronting men and her sister and owning it
Yes.
to everybody.
Yes.
She owned everything. I mean, she did. What other females were doing Zeppelin songs?
Right.
And in 1975.
yeah.
So Ann
It
Wilson
was
is
ridiculous.
badass. She has the greatest female voice, in my opinion, of all time.
But let me add. Can I add something to that? Because I have a I don't want to sound like a dick when I say this, but women can sing in that register.
Yep.
It's easier, to sing in a Zeppelin register, in a higher register.
Sure. Yep.
It's unique when a man does it because it's not the way we're supposed to sing. And I can sing in that register, but it's more unique when a man can do it. So, but the difference is, like, female singers can do like a Zeppelin thing, but Ann Wilson does it with grit. Like it's all
Yeah.
diaphragm, and it's power. Like, to do it with power is a different thing. And I agree with you. There's not a lot of female vocalists, like rock vocalists, that I dig, because a lot of them don't sing like, say, an Ann Wilson. But the ones that do, they blow you out of the water, because it's like a male soprano sort of singer, or a male tenor, I should say, a male tenor singer. So so there's few people that do that. She does that. Grace Slick does that. It's just this guttural, sort of diaphragm singing that it's not common, because a lot of women sing without that, and it's more they call it head voice. There's a lot more head voice when we get up into that, which is kind of a falsetto sort of a thing. So yeah, so that's the one thing about Ann Wilson that makes her different, is that she's got that grit and falsetto, and it's not, everything is full voice. There's no head voice. It's all, unless she does like that thing in Barracuda. That's little head voice, but it's
Right.
just like just for a second, and she comes out.
Just for
you know,
a second.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, she's unbelievable.
I 1,000% agree. Just like Sass Jordan, what I was saying before, she's
Same thing. Yep, Sass
It's
Jordan,
like-
same thing.
Give me the mic. My thing is, I've always loved women that give me a mic. I got a t-shirt on and I got sweatpants on, and I'm gonna kill it, as opposed to having to be frilly and the look has to do with the voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
but
just walk up-
sweatpants and yoga pants have a whole other attraction as well. So don't.
Well, that's true.
There's websites dedicated to that. So
Oh my God.
I'm just saying. Not that I go to those websites. I've heard about those websites.
All right, Lynn, what do you got?
Oh
What
yeah,
you
like
gonna
you
make
guys
it? I wanna
don't. You
make-
know, like you guys don't know. Give me a break.
Oh my God. So I was going to say Beth Hart, and then I was going to say Ann Wilson because my sister, again, I used to steal her 8-track of Dreamboat Annie. I stole the 8-track and would go listen to it. But Baby Lestrange, Little Queen, I can't, like Butch said, oh my God. Like, and those songs were like sexy. They screamed sex appeal too,
Oh
It was fucking amazing. So, and I haven't met anyone to sing like her ever yet. And she's 70 and still killing it. So definitely Ann Wilson, definitely Beth Hart. Love seeing them both. Again, yeah, my honorable mention, Stevie Nicks for sure. Stephanie Lynn Nicks. I have to mention her name. Etta James, Sunday Kind of Love. I love Etta James. Maria Brink in this moment. I actually love
Yeah.
Maria Brink's voice. Janis Joplin, Billie Holiday. Like, I like all that stuff. But I guess my last and final pick is I'm going to go with Patsy Cline. My dad actually we grew up listening to Patsy Cline. The Patsy Cline Story, I actually, God rest his soul, watched it with my dad. And actually on my refrigerator, I actually have, my dad wrote October 19th, Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn. Last year, in
Loretta Lynn.
2019, he wanted me to like watch this show that they were going to be on, and I can't bring myself to take it off my refrigerator, but it's crazy. I Fall to Pieces. She's Got You. I mean, she was ridiculous, Patsy Cline. Love singing
agree.
her. She's just amazing. So if anyone doesn't know her because you don't like old school kind of music, do yourself a favor, look her up, listen to a couple tunes, and believe me when I tell you, talk about a woman's vocals that you could fall in love with. And she was a front in an all-man band and commanded the stage back then, She was great. So I'm going to go with Patsy Cline as well as all those honorable mentions. And we can talk all night about great women singers, but
Oh yeah.
those are just a few of mine.
Very cool.
So thank you.
All right, Steve, what do you got?
It's my turn already.
Yes.
All right, so this is my number one, and then I'll do my honorable mentions. Of course, probably everybody knows my number one pick in this room. If you know me personally, is Dora Pesch. She's the metal queen.
Oh yeah, Dora.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lee Aaron, because Lee Aaron was known as the metal queen for a while back in the day, I think. But Doro, to me, of course, friend of the shop also she is, but Dora Pesch, her Warlock, her early work, and I'm not talking about All We Are, which everybody knows. I'm talking about songs like Hellbound and Mr. Gold and Burn the Witches,
I rule the
Out of
room.
Control, Metal Racer. And I mean, her ballads, she does great ballads also. Stuff like Without You, For Immer, Beyond the Trees, and Love Me in Black. Another song that's kind of rare, you don't see much, is You Hurt My Soul. It's one of my favorite songs by Doro. So I had to get Doro Pesch in there, and been to my store. I've seen her a million times, of course. Other mentions, I would say, is the band Arch Enemy. A lot of people, started out with the male vocals, but turned into Angela Gossow, had one of the best stage presences and one of the craziest voices in metal. And
Wasn't she, Steve? Wasn't she in? What was her? She was in a Canadian band too, wasn't she? Before that,
Angela Gossow? No,
I think
No,
so.
that's the third singer.
That's Alyssa. Alyssa.
Alyssa, yeah,
the one
she was
that's
in the
current,
Agonists.
Alyssa White.
Sorry,
Who's married to
Misfits guy, yeah.
married to the guy
Well.
from the, right?
Well, yeah, Doyle.
Doyle.
Oh, yeah,
Doyle.
yeah.
Doyle.
And other mentions I would say would be Josie and the Pussycats. No one's mentioned them yet. Janis Joplin, I think I mentioned earlier talking about her, but Summertime, just that song. I mean, and she's got so many great stuff. And one of my ones maybe someone else will still mention because there's people going behind me is I thought Pete was starting out with that in his last pick, talking about Ellen Larson from Blues Pills. Blues Pills is a Swedish band, like a real bluesy. Now she's kind of like a modern day Joplin. When someone would come in and ask me about Blues Pills or like in that vein of music, just amazing. Yes. And of course, Johanna Sadonis from
Lucifer. On my honorable mentions as well.
And Lucifer, and someone that's got a real good big connection with Nick Franco is Jax Toth. Jax Toth would hand him a flaming torches and stuff at shows.
That's when I got it right. Yeah, that was on my list.
Floor Jansen from Nightwish, another one of my favorites and one of my current favorite. When she took over for Nightwish, it was amazing. Chris told a story in another episode how we went and saw Nightwish with Annette, and we kind of like hung out and saw most of it, but with Floor, it was just what a different experience.
You were floored.
We were floored by Floor, yes.
On the nose.
And, Shirley, and we're going real old school with Lynn. I'm going to say Shirley Bassey on Goldfinger.
Nice.
Wow.
Moonraker.
I thought you were going to say Shirley Temple.
No
finger.
You said old school.
Lynn went older than me.
I want to
Good
mention
old school.
I mean, listen to the high she hits in that at the very end. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell wrapped up.
There you go.
That's me in a nutshell.
I'll get into this nutshell.
Steve in a nutshell, eh?
Josie and the Pussycats.
There you go.
What's your number one, Steve?
Nice.
That's your number one. All right. I'm sorry I stole that one from
Your
you.
number one. Sorry, Steve.
Oh, wait, two more. Hold on, two more. Just popped my head. I don't know their names. Nashville Pussy and Cycle Sluts from Hell.
Yes.
Oh,
Nice.
Done. There you go.
Holy shit.
Remember that?
Debbie Harry from Blondie.
Oh, yeah, great.
Wow. So somebody would have yelled if you didn't mention her. That's for damn sure.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
that's
All
what I
right,
was
go ahead.
thinking.
We're
We're gonna get yelled at for not mentioning Debbie Harry.
Absolutely, yeah.
I was going to mention her.
All right, center square. What do you got, Chris?
All right, I'll wrap this up. I'll make it quick as we're getting along here. Two extreme ladies that were like both way ahead of their time. Honorable mention to Dawn Crosby, who was in the band Détente, which became Fear of God, and they did the record Within the Veil is just amazing. You know, came out in the early '90s. They were on Warner Brothers, way ahead of their time. Unfortunately, she tragically drank herself to death, but man, that band was like nuts and way ahead of their time. But also in like a couple years later, like 1996, I was at the Roseland. I went to go see Gwar and the Misfits. There was like 3,000 people there, and I got there early for some reason. And the opening band came out, and the singer was the skinny little blonde with like disgusting dreadlocks down to the floor. And I was like blown away. Like the band's music was totally crazy, and the girl's vocals were fucking insane. Like she was doing like baby girl voices and like high pitched shrieks, and the fucking Chris Barnes 6 Feet Under guttural vocals, and it was Karen Crisis with the band Crisis. And I was like, holy shit, like this band is fucking nuts. Unfortunately, Crisis broke up, and they were way ahead of their time. And she's been in a million bands since. But the band that she did with the guys from Immolation, Gospel of the Witches, is unbelievable. It's like she does, a lot of the different vocal styles, but she also does a lot of clean singing, and it's total like occult rock. I totally dig it. They did 2 records. I like the first one better, which was called Salem's Wounds. And if you're into the, bands like Lucifer and some of these other, 70s influenced occult rock bands, but with like weird vocals, I would definitely check out Gospel of the Witches, and that's my final pick.
Cool.
Well,
All right, Sydney.
All right, so pretty much my honorable mentions, same as everybody. Pat Benatar, Ann Wilson. You got the whole shebang. Doro Pesh was on my honorable mentions list as well. Lee Aaron. The list goes on and on. Maria Brink. We've mentioned a lot of them already that were on my honorable mentions list. But for me, I know that Butch said that for my number one, that he doesn't like Hailstorm, but I do. I love Hailstorm, so I'm going with Lizzie Hale for my number one. I love her attitude. I love the presence that she brings on stage, along with her voice, which I think is very strong. She can do a lot of the melodic stuff. She can get a little bit heavier and raspier, I feel like. And I just love her. She told this fun story one time, because she opened up for Alice, was it last year? Hailstorm did. And, told this really funny story about how when she was like 11 years old, she went to a sleepover and her friends asked everyone to bring their favorite CDs, and she brought Alice Cooper's Love It to Death. And I was like, that is just so me. So I just love everything about her. And yeah, I don't know. She had to be my number one. I wanted to go with somebody who was, more modern. And I really think that she's kind of helping to bring, just this female kind of fronted, which I hate that term. I hate that I just said that. Female fronted. It's just a band, with a singer, kind of, but bringing that, into like the forefront of, kind of modern day metal. So, yeah, I wanted to go with her for my final pick. And I also wanted to showcase my shirt really quick because Stevie Nicks, another honorable mention. This is a shirt from the Rock a Little tour in '86 that I wanted to rep. An original shirt, again, out of my parents' collection, and now it is mine. And I will be wearing it until it falls apart. But yeah, no, I wanted to, I always forget to explain that in the first go around. So,
Steve, Toots, we talk about Stevie Nicks. Stevie had a backup singer who was, I can't remember her name, but she sang on Edge of 17. She was the other female singer on Edge of 17 that she would go call and answer with. And that woman was phenomenal. And she died really young. If anybody could look her up, I can't remember her name, but do yourself a favor and look her up because that woman was phenomenal. And Stevie loved her so much that she put her on that song. And she did a lot of stuff like that with Stevie, but she apparently, I don't know what she died from, but she died very young, like cancer or something. So check her out too. Just if you like Stevie Nicks, she's great too. And I agree with you with Lizzie Hale. I'm not a big Hailstorm fan, but she's definitely she's carrying the torch. You know what I mean? Yeah. She's in metal, and she followed me on Instagram.
I just think
I was very excited.
It's just one of those things where it's like, I love like even just having this conversation of like, I'm 21 years old in metal, and like I love all of these, and we did this favorite vocalist performance, and it's like a lot of my favorite singers are male just by design. We look back on history, and a lot of my favorite singers are male just because of how it was. But I love to see people like Lizzie Hale, showing the younger generation, especially, you see these young girls that are going to rock and metal shows and going to see Hailstorm and going to see the Pretty Reckless and going to see Arch Enemy, you know what I mean? And it's like they want to be like a metal singer when they grow up, or a metal guitarist. And I think that that's just like, kind of how it has to go. Yeah, it has to start with somebody like Lizzie Hale. You know what I mean?
It's important. I agree.
I think even having.
Well, I'm sorry, but a lot of for me too. Like, there's a lot of bands that I didn't like. Not just female front of this, but I was never. And you're probably gonna scream at me, but I was never a Metallica fan. I'm still not. And I was never Metallica. I was never really a Slayer fan either. I didn't really dig Slayer. God. I know. And but I appreciate what they do. You know what I mean? Right. I was never a big Rush fan, but I appreciate the importance of these bands. You know what I mean? Like they're important. You gotta basically, appreciate their contribution to music. And I think Lizzie Hale's making a huge contribution to music. Yeah. I remember when they won the Grammy, I have a friend, and he'll remain nameless, who was nominated for the same Grammy. And he was pissed that they won, because was it the metal category that they won the Grammy for? I feel like this was maybe about 10 years ago or so.
Probably.
Yeah, but they won a Grammy, and he was just pissed. And I'm like, well, what are you so pissed off about? I mean, this is a female, and I hear what you're saying about that, but
Yeah.
it's a female fronted rock band, hard rock band, metal band, whatever you want to call them, whatever category you want to put them in. They did the work, and she did the work. You know, they played the small clubs. You can see the videos of them, you know, her and her brother playing like small clubs and just
Right.
trying to find who they were
Yeah.
because they were
In
young
Philly,
musicians.
right, in Philly, right where I am, that they basically would just play like random, like, you know, she
Yeah.
told the story that I saw them when they played the God, what was it called, the PPL Center in like Allentown, and
Mhm.
she talked about how they played like some place like across the street or something. They were like
Yeah,
now
little
for
bar.
for like a decade
Yeah.
ago. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got to struggle. If you don't dig it, that's cool. But you know, just
Yeah.
I always try to be respectful, even for bands I don't like. You know, there's people in bands that I definitely don't like, and I will not, you know, not hold back on that. But you know, I can't dog anybody's contribution to music. You know what I mean? So all of it, like you know, Steve will tell you, I'm not a big death metal guy, but I love parts of it. I love some of the stuff that happens with it, and I respect it. You know, but I can't get, you know, pour a glass of whiskey and sit down and drink and listen to that, because I just be like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, so I just can't do it.
Franco's
but
shaking his head up there.
But I appreciate it. You know, I appreciate all of it. You know, it's all relative. You know, so
Yeah.
anyway,
You know what? And piggybacking off of what you guys are saying is like, I don't hate Lizzie Hale.
you're an asshole. Fuck you.
Well, you know, that goes without saying. But I will definitely give Lizzie Hale this. I will give her a lot of credit, because during this whole pandemic thing, I don't remember who else was in the video with her, but I know that she was the focal point of it. That she did a Thin Lizzy cover. She did Bad Reputation.
Yeah.
Bad Reputation.
I thought
Yep.
that was actually really cool, because it's not a well-known Lizzie song, except if you're a Lizzie fan, you love it. But to the masses, it's not a big song, and I thought that was actually really cool that she pulled that out and did that. So I give her tons of credit for that.
Yeah,
she-
I forget who she did that with. Why
Phil
is-
Demmel was Phil.
That's
Demmel
what I was
the
thinking.
guitar
I
player.
was thinking it was Phil. Yeah.
Yeah, because I did one with Phil too. Phil's been going crazy doing these. You know, it's just he did a covers record with Bobby Blitz, and now he's insane with these things. Like he covers everything. He did a cover of Aces High, which I just did too.
Wow.
I did it. We had to hold ours because he released it with Jericho, and it's like, and it charted. So like, well, fuck, we just did all this work, and now, you know, so
Whoa.
you know, it's like great. So we waited like 5 months before we're putting ours out, but it's
Oh,
you know,
shit.
but yeah, but she did a great job on that.
Yeah, she did.
I was kind of pissed. I was like, Phil, you're doing like this great Thin Lizzy song, and you didn't call me. Like, yeah, you called Lizzy. That's cool, I guess. You know, but whatever.
All right, Ryan.
All right, so I'll hit my honorable mentions real quick here. One of my favorite, obviously, I know I mentioned her before on the show. I'm surprised no one else has mentioned her. Kate Bush, love Kate Bush.
Oh,
One
I
of
was
my
gonna
favorite,
say that.
one of my favorites of all time. So I didn't really want to bring her up as one of my favorite choices, but amazing voice, Alison Krauss.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely fucking amazing voice. I saw her once at Radio City Music Hall, probably like 20-something years ago. Unfucking believable. Completely different direction. Metal industrial band from originally from Germany, but they moved around a lot. Band is KMFDM, very well-known band. For the last 20 years.
Great band, yeah.
They've had a singer, one of multiple singers. This band's always had like a lot of vocalists. Lucia Cifarelli. This band covers all kinds of shit. They have like metal, electronic dance music, funk, soul, like they're all over the map. So her vocals are correspondingly, she's able to hit all these different styles, like really like smooth gothic rock, like hard hitting metal, electronic dance music. So, and they've been around for like, I don't know, 40 years now, and their stuff's just all over the map. And so her voice, she sings on a lot of their tracks. And this is their last or most recent album, Paradise, and her vocals are amazing. But I want to stick with my trend of doing like kind of known bands here. So this band I don't think anybody's heard of. They came up, they're from Chicago. They played, I don't think, any shows outside of Chicago that I'm aware of. They were only around for a couple of years. They put out a fucking amazing album, and then they broke up and they're gone. So the band is, raise your hand if you've heard of these guys. The band's called Satan's Hallow. Cool artwork here. I think you're saying, I told you about them. That's probably why. So this sounds like, the vocalist's name is Mandy Martillo, and this basically sounds like Ann Wilson singing for early Iron Maiden. That's just the easiest way to put it. You have Ann Wilson singing over Number of the Beast, just like kind of do like a broad reference. That's kind of like this. You put this on if you want to, if you like getting speeding tickets and you want to stand in front of a judge and explain why you're going 80 and a 35. This is the album for you, because this is just nonstop, raging fucking riffs, these scorching lead guitars. She's got that kind of, like you said, that guttural, deep, like powerful driving voice over this really intense, like powerful, like classic metal. So it sucks that they put this album out and they immediately broke up. Some of them are in a new band called Midnight Dice, who I've only listened to a little bit, but not too familiar with. But I think the main songwriter from this album is not in a new band, and you can kind of tell it's not as good. But this album is just a million out of 10. And it's a shame that no one's ever heard of them, because they were just here and they were gone. It's like really all they ever did. I think they had a 2-song demo. Both songs ended up on this album. So this album's like the collective thing they ever did. Came out in 2017, and it's just amazing. So I'll pick a song from it because this is pretty obscure. The last song on the album is called Beyond the Bells. Go to YouTube, go to however you like to listen to music, and check that song out, Beyond the Bells. And listen to that. If that doesn't move you, then I don't know. Maybe just heavy metal just ain't your thing. Like, it's just so, it's just that good. Like, you're just punching the ceiling. Like, I cannot listen to this album when I'm driving, so I'll get a fucking speeding ticket. It's just like that kind of metal. So my final choice for going with these guys, Mandy Martillo, totally unknown singer from Chicago, and the band was Satan's Hallow, which was amazing. Then they broke up. Satan's Hallow. Yep. Not Hollow. Yeah, it's Hallow with an A. Yeah. So yeah, it's a shame they fucked off and broke up. Just one of those things. They had, I guess, it sounded like they had a good thing going, but sometimes band members just can't get along. This doesn't work. So
sure,
just kind of here and there gone. But this album, highly recommended. Really, really good stuff. So.
Hey, to add to your Kate Bush thing, I'm sorry. Are you done? I didn't want to. Yeah, the Kate Bush thing. She's got a song called "Running Up That Hill" that is just
amazing,
fucking phenomenal. And she did a duet with Peter Gabriel. I can't remember what the song's called. "Don't Give Up" or something.
Oh, that's the one where they're I forget the song, but the video is like where they're hugging each other the whole time.
Yeah. Great song.
It's really just their vocals. I feel like the musical accompaniment in that song is like non-existent. It's just Peter and Kate singing, and it's phenomenal. Right. Both of them have such great voices.
So good, yeah. Well, "Running Up That Hill" is my favorite one. But and I was thinking about it earlier when I was putting my list together, and I forgot a singer. It's like, shit, who was it? And I couldn't get it down, and you said it. Like, God damn it, that was it. But she also had a very famous bass player, and her very famous in metal bass player. Does anybody know who that was for a record? Anybody?
I do not. I do not.
Anybody? Know. Jimmy Bain.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Jimmy Bain played bass on one of her records, and I think he had some songwriting credits for her as well. So yeah.
Cool.
Yep, there you go.
Very cool. All right. Well, as with Butch, my favorite female singer of all time is Miss Wilson. But since Butch said really everything we need to say here, and I echo all of it, she's amazing. She's legendary, and she's kind of the blueprint for a lot of what we're talking about. But I'm going to give some props to some other folks here. Some honorable mentions out of the way. Simone from Epica, like Chris picked. I also have Pat Benatar on my list. Angela Gossow from Arch Enemy. Who else? Stevie Nicks, Grace Slick, Deborah Harry, Flora Jensen, Johanna Sedanis. They were all on my list as well, but I want to talk about two that nobody has mentioned so far. The first one is Karen Carpenter.
Oh, wow. I love her.
Shit.
I mean,
Holy shit.
Play me Superstar any day of the week, and it brings me to tears, man. It's just like, what a great voice. Left us way too soon. I love Carpenter stuff. And my other pick, I'm not sure how many folks on this here have actually heard this band or her. There was a fairly popular British progressive rock band in the 70s called Renaissance. And the lead singer was Annie Haslam. All right, this is my favorite album by Renaissance, Turn of the Cards. So Annie Haslam had that kind of like very high-pitched operatic vocal style. The band's music, very much art rock, symphonic rock, piano, acoustic guitar, lead Rickenbacker bass, drums, and vocals. That's what they were all about. They were not quite as electronic and out there as Yes. They were not quite as atmospheric as Genesis, but they were kind of somewhere in the middle. really upbeat stuff, majestic music, I think you call it. Her vocals are absolutely lovely. She's a wonderful person. We interviewed her here on the channel last year. I've met her a couple times, and just go, if you're not familiar with Renaissance, go check out the song Mother Russia. That's all I'm going to say. It's an amazing, amazing song from an amazing, amazing band, Annie Haslam from Renaissance. And that's it for me today.
Nice.
Nice.
Nick Franco.
All right. So I'm doing my personal queen, my personal goddess, the female singer who I worship the most. I've probably mentioned 1,000 times on this channel. And that is, of course, Chelsea Wolfe from California. She is the most harrowing, the most emotional, the most, oh man, I don't even know where to begin. This is her latest album, Birth of Violence, but this is my favorite album of hers, Pain is Beauty. I'll just say that the song, They'll Clap When You're Gone, is the most depressing, beautifully velvet darkness, depression fucking song you'll ever hear. I mean, she conjures Mazzy Star, but, you know, just
Ooh, nice.
gothier. Yeah, like so how to describe her, part goth, part sort of electro pop, little metal in there, little rock, a lot of weird, real heavy sounds going on that aren't guitar driven, like, you know, like keyboard sounds in there that really fucking just get you. She just gets you right in the guts. So Chelsea Wolfe is probably my favorite active, like, up and coming singer of all time right now. But I'd like to mention some honorable mentions. The Swedish folk duo First Aid Kit, Johanna and Clara Soderberg, and they do an unbelievable cover of Running Up That Hill, by the way. So if you check that out on YouTube, they did it live in some festival. There's fucking these girls, again, young folk duo, kind of influenced by Emmylou Harris, another great. And they're just really, really beautiful to listen to. But I wanted to mention real quick before we conclude this, it would be remiss of me not to mention the other segment of female vocals that go on in this world, and that is hellish black metal. And just as Andrew was saying how it's natural for girls to sing at that higher register than it is for men, I would say that conversely, it's unnatural for women to be able to sing like real black metal kind of vocals. But the two ladies I'm about to mention, Obscura is her stage name, from Asseground from Holland, and of course,
Hold that back up.
Hannah Van.
I knew he wasn't making it.
I know.
Let back up.
See the logo, Nick. Let Butch
No,
see the logo.
we're pushing forward, Butch. Sorry, we're pushing
I can
forward.
see the realization on his
No,
face.
let
send
him
you
see
the
the logo,
pronunciation.
Nick. Come on.
Missed it.
Asseground. Anyway,
I could.
her name,
Say so.
her name is bless me. No, her name is Hannah Vandenberg, and I think, please let me get that right. Yeah. And she's just, you know, corpse paint. She plays guitar while she fucking howls from the bowels of hell. This girl's voice is just, you know. And then the other one, of course, this is the other band. Ryan knows them. Dark and Nocturne Slaughter Cult. Ivan Vilchinska.
I got a story.
Of course.
Nice.
What a name, right? I saw them. I was like, that name's silly. My friend was like, no, you got to see this band.
What's the name again?
Thank you.
Dark and Nocturne Slaughter Cult.
It's like they said, we need the evilest names we can find.
Yeah.
Do the Google search on the evilest names we can find.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. I honestly was put off by the name, and then I saw them, and I was like, holy fuck! This chick comes out
That's awesome.
in a pure white dress, pure
Fuck yeah.
white, with corpse paint and like the contact lenses, long hair. She's playing lead guitar, a white guitar,
I'm
and
in
at
love.
some point she bites some blood capsules, or maybe it was real blood. There's just blood running down her whole fucking chest, and she's just ripping it up. You know, when you watch like The Exorcism of Emily Rose or The Exorcist, and like there's always that part where the girl like what's her name, Jennifer Carpenter, right? The actress, she's screaming fucking unholy bloody murder in the movie. That's what her vocals are like all the time.
Wow.
And like Andrew said, it's hard to get you get a drink and sit there. I love that. You know, I love that, but I like everything, you know, like I like something like this, like Chelsea Wolfe, that's more goth inspired. I love Emmylou Harris. I love Gladys Knight. Growing up, Gladys Knight's voice. Oh, every beat of my heart. I mean, that shit fucking make you cry. So
Yeah,
I love
sure.
everything. I love emotion. I love real misery and real anger and real fucking emotion. So that's, you know, I have a whole wide range of
Ryan's got
I
a
got
comment.
I got a story concerning Nick's band. This is the most black
Oh.
metal story I have, by the way.
Uh,
Dave,
knows
yeah.
I got a
So-
story.
I had never heard of this band like Nick, and I went to see some concert in Brooklyn probably like 15 years ago, and they went on second or third. I brought a friend of mine, who it turns out it was a germaphobe, which will become relevant shortly. So Dark and Nocturne Slaughter Cult goes on. This was a venue about the size of the chair, like a 500-person venue. It was called Club Europa, right on Manhattan Ave in Brooklyn. And turns out, Nick, it's not like Guar, it's not stage blood, it's real blood. So halfway through the set, she has this chalice, like this Indiana Jones chalice. She goes over, takes a big gulp of this whatever, and spits it in the crowd. And I'm right up front with my buddy, and I don't give a fuck, 'cause I'm pretty drunk. And I look, I'm like, like that's not stage blood. That's blood. That's real blood. And I'm like, oh man, like what the fuck? I'm like, well, it's got to be like pig's blood or cow blood. Very
What
fucking
name?
black metal. Well, it turns out my friend had a level 9,000 fucking nuclear breakdown being a germaphobe, and he just got a face full of fucking animal blood. And he's in the bathroom, just like he's like pupils are dilated, and he's like, oh, just having a, okay, that's unsanitary and fucked up, with satanic metal. And I'm like, well, hopefully they boiled it first to kind of like kill, microbes or whatever. Nobody got sick.
I'm sure they didn't. Yeah.
I'm sure they probably didn't. As far as I know, I didn't get
Probably a
sick.
hot plate backstage.
My buddy, my good buddy Dave, who I love the guy to death, but yeah, he was really not having it at all. I'm like, well,
That's disgusting.
it was disgusting. I agree.
That's
So then I'm
disgusting.
like, well, we got to wash up. You're not getting in my car stinking like fucking animal blood. You got to wash up a little first. So wash your face and your hands. And so that's how I heard of that band, Nick. And that was quite an introduction. So
That's that real shit.
it was. I found out later. I did find out later. It was.
Lovely.
You can go to like a Polish food store, and there was a Polish neighborhood right in Brooklyn. It was in Greenpoint, and they sell, like, if you're gonna make blood sausage, they sell animal blood. So it's a regular ingredient, and they did boil it, so it was purified. So it wasn't. So I didn't learn that until sometime after.
I've
At the moment, I'm like, did they kill somebody?
Yeah.
Is this a murder? What the fuck?
That's
But,
really nasty.
I've had ox blood spit on me in Sweden.
I
Yeah.
don't really like
Wow,
it.
good times.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
the music,
yeah.
but,
Yeah.
I don't like being covered in that because you got to get in your car and then you got to drive home and you smell.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
this is also important. It's all important. You may not like it, but it's important.
Listen.
It's important
This
to
is
get
gone
blood on
36.
you? At a
This
No,
is
it's
concert?
important. This is important for rock music. These things need to happen because it's shock, man, and you may not dig it, you may not want to be there, but
I didn't
I love
expect
Gigi Allen's the guy who started all this shit, right?
Oh, yeah.
He also blew his brother on stage, so that's that's a
Yeah, I mean that's
Oh my, okay.
I mean,
Oh,
I can
seriously?
support
Fear
that.
boner. Fear boner.
yeah, that's a fear boner.
I have
Oh
a
my
statement.
God.
All right,
The
We've
the
we've
crib
been
keeper
talking
would
about
like to say
female
something.
vocalists tonight, and we're way off topic now, talking about blood. But I mean, there's a million black metal bands that do that, so it's not surprising that person would tame all those bands, throw blood out and do blood rituals. But I'm going 360 because there's a person we haven't mentioned tonight, and it's the only female rock, well, not female rock, but female artist that has their own pinball machine, Dolly Parton. So we're going back to talking something normal. We're going from blood. Dolly Parton has no ox blood or anything on her stage shows.
No, she spit blood on me once.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe Tammy Wynette or Loretta Lynn may do that, but not Dolly. I
Spit
don't
blood on Kenny Rogers.
There you go.
She's got the blood of Kenny Rogers on her hands. That's what she has.
think. And Pete forgot to tell his favorite vocalist tonight, the Great Cat. I think he forgot all about
Oh,
her.
the great cat! Yeah,
Yeah, right. Holy.
that's what I was thinking of. Not Mixie bitch. It was a great cat. Fuck
Yeah.
with the
You
flying V.
forgot. I'm
Yeah.
glad. See, aren't you glad I brought the Great Cat up? You forgot all about it.
Yeah, she was nuts, man.
Beethoven on speed.
That's right. That's right.
Dolly Parton needed to get mentioned because there's a Dolly Parton pinball machine.
You're absolutely right.
Lynn, are you okay?
No, I'm not okay.
Lynn's
It's gonna
face
take
was
Lynn a few
priceless
days to
during the
recover from that.
stories. of
I'm
this
clearly-
blood ritual
listen,
thing.
it doesn't
Lynn's
take-
face
I
was
mean-
priceless.
You guys, you know me for a long time. I do not get shocked easily, and that just shocked me.
Liz,
Dolly
I'm
Parton.
never
Almost
ever
like
going
King
to a
Diamond
Black Metal
without,
show
like-
after hearing that.
What's so
No,
shocking about a Dolly Parton pinball machine?
Yeah.
No, not
Lynn?
about Dolly Parton, about the
Sorry,
other
before.
stuff. Either way, I have to mention Billie Eilish for my daughter because
I love Mal.
I love Billie Eilish.
Good
and
save,
I have
Andy.
to mention her.
He's really cool. I like him too.
Well, I like
I
the first song. I don't like the new song. I'm Not Your Friend. That's like one I
Yeah,
wrote a song.
but
called
I
I'm Not
think
Your
she's
Friend. Now I
great.
can't release it. So, but,
I do think she's great. My daughter turned me on to her, and I have to mention her.
I mean,
I
if
really
you like
like
somebody who
Britney.
whispers on a microphone, it's great.
I love Lady Gaga.
Still important.
Oh man. Well, there you have it, everybody. Lots of cool picks of
Woo!
our favorite female singers. I want to thank Andrew Freeman for joining us today. But before we let you go, can we get a little update on what's going on with Last in Line?
Yeah, as soon as I get a fucking update, I'll let you know. What's going on with us? We all live in different parts of the world, so it's different parts of the country. So we have a record that is being shopped right now. We don't have a label, so which is half done. And what else? So we're talking about finishing ourselves at the moment because of the COVID situation. There's labels aren't really, it doesn't seem like they're, gung-ho because you can't tour
The record.
yeah, if we release something, we can't tour it right now. So we're gonna have to probably wait to release it. So, but it's half done, and I did all the vocals right here. And what else? We do a little chat like this periodically, where we just the four of us get on and start talking shit to each other, and we talk to the fans, and we try to sell some of our merch. And we're on hold like everybody else, I guess. But we just released a video because Phil, the bass player, and I are kind of bored, so we're trying to think of ways to just keep the name out there, and we're talking about doing a really cool cover song from the 60s that not a lot of people would attempt, but we feel like we're arrogant enough to do that. So that's the long and short of it, but everybody's good. Vinny's doing a drum show. He does a drum clinic every week online, every Tuesday. Phil's been doing, what's he doing? He does like these videos where he fixes things, and cooking show sort of things that we keep encouraging him to do, because when we say we like it, he's like, oh, then I'll do more. So that, and Viv is good. Viv's just kind of relaxing. He lives in New Hampshire now, and by the water, and he's healthy and doing really well.
Good news.
Yeah, so he's doing really well. Everybody's happy. Everybody's above water still. We're just kind of waiting it out. The thing is too, is we were going to do like a live stream. We were talking about that, but it was kind of hard to get Vivian we didn't want him to get sick, because he's at risk. So with this whole COVID thing, so we didn't really want him to get on a plane. So we kind of put that on hold, but we also don't want to do anything that we're going to regret next year. You know what I mean? Like do something that looks really hokey just because of the pandemic, and so we're just kind of laying low, and we're doing little things that we can do. So I'm designing a coffee mug that we're going to sell for Last Line. So
All right.
Well,
for these things, so when I drink, it says a logo here, branding.
well, I can say, Mr. Freeman was cool enough to send me 3 or 4 songs at the end of last year for the new Last in Line, and he knows me very well. He knows I would not bullshit him, and I tell it like it is, and I love it. It's the heaviest stuff that you guys have done so far, and so yeah, I
Thanks, man.
hope that you get this deal all lined up, because it's some good shit.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yes, it's a cool bunch of songs. So and those are just roughs. Those are rough demos. So imagine what they're going to be when we actually get serious about it. So
Yeah.
Good shit.
Nice.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for joining. We love having you.
Nice. It was good seeing you,
Thanks
Andy.
for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we do every week, our center square gets to give some last words, some final thoughts of the day. So, Chris Allo, that's you, my friend.
Live long and prosper.
Oh,
Here we go. Hey,
I got a Star Trek toy over there, so that's why.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
That was Star Trek.
That's not cool.
Very cool. Well, thanks everybody for watching and joining us here today. Feel free in the comments below to list some of your favorite female vocalists. Remember, there's no right or wrong answers here. We all love who we love. And I think we talked about a lot of great ones today, and I'm sure there's others that we missed. So for Butch Jones, Andrew Freeman, Lynn Versace, Steve Keeler, Chris Salas, Sydney Taylor, Ryan Scow, Nick Franco, I am Pete Pardo. We'll see you all next Monday night. Take care, everybody.